Yo, people of the Rift. Got another coaching session coming at you. Coming at you live. That's just not true. But regardless, let's just fucking get into it, man. Fuck this shit. Hey, man.
Hey.
How we doing?
Good.
Good, dude. Good. So why don't we just jump right into it? Let's take a look at your OPGG first. I think that will help us get started. I'll share my screen here.
Mm-hmm.
So, first off,
Yeah.
what I really like is just the Jayce that we're playing, right? I really just like that we're getting a bunch of games in. If we want to play Jayce, that's completely fine. Like
I mean, it was either that or Ambessa, so
fair enough.
But like seems to have served me better, but I don't know. Less of a flex pick, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it just ultimately depends on whoever you feel more motivated to spend time with, right? Whoever you feel more interested in playing, whoever you're more like motivated to play, that means you're more likely to be putting in the work to improve at them and improve at the game with them. Something I do want to say is that it is having 58 unique champions played here. That's kind of a bad sign, right? Like that's not really ideal here. What we really want to do, especially if we're going to play a champion like Jayce, is just focus solely on getting Jayce games in as much as possible. You know, don't stress. Like Jayce is a hard champion. He's going to take time to understand his strengths and how to pilot him properly. So he's a champion you're going to need like 80 to 100 games on to really be feeling comfortable. And the best thing you can do is just commit to getting those games in. If you want to find one other champion that you feel comfortable playing alongside him, just to spice it up a little bit, or if there's games you really don't want to play Jayce, I think that's fine. But even then, I really do want to emphasize just getting as many games as possible just on Jayce, especially just in the same lane. That will pay a lot of dividends down the line. And we settling in on Phase Rush, do you like that most of the time, just kind of as your main option with him?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good into a lot of matchups.
Yeah, it just gives him a lot of like nice maneuverability and just gives him some options in the early lane as well. I don't think the build is too important, but it definitely matters. Eclipse is by no means bad, but I think people get trapped into trading a ton with Eclipse, which isn't bad, but you just want to be intentional about it. I think Opportunity is also a fine first item. Ghostblade is something you could think about. I think you had one game here where you did it. The main two items we're seeing on Jayce nowadays are either Ghostblade or Eclipse, and then sometimes Opportunity as well. But obviously, you just want to get Ghostblade into your Muramana, and then we're pretty happy with that. So what's kind of your like thought process on playing Jayce? What's kind of your mindset going into games on Jayce? When do you feel strong? What are you kind of playing for?
First item.
Yeah, fair enough. I think definitely we're not, so Jayce is weird because it's like you're not really weak in the early levels, but you definitely scale so much better with items. But every level we get,
he's a mid to late game character, so
for sure. But he can also get a lot of work done in the early levels because think like every level up we get, we're getting 2 skills, right? So every levels 2 and 3 are pretty big power spikes actually, especially compared to certain melee champions or to certain champions in general. Because you have more options, you can get more damage out, get more things done. So something I would, have you ever heard of the concept of the mental stack?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
Okay, so it's kind of just the idea of like when you're doing any given activity, right? You only have so much kind of like brain power you can allocate towards something, right? So you got 100% of mental stack to offer to something. And when you're in game, it's like you can only allocate certain amounts to certain things. So for instance, if we're new to playing Jayce, we're thinking about like our combos, that's going to take up like 40%. We might be focused on like CSing, that's like 30% or something. And then you only have so much space, right, to allocate towards stuff. So that's why I'm always hesitant to when I see like a mobile analytics stuff like this, where it's just like I think a lot of the times often it just kind of gets in the way of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So just something to think about. Obviously it's like if you play with it a lot, you're probably not even seeing it, but it's definitely like you don't need to see your CS per minute, gold per minute. This stuff doesn't matter. You should know what you're building. I don't hate like the summoner spells because that can be useful, but I would say that's really where I'd cap it. Otherwise, it's just a lot of noise. And then obviously too, right? It's like when we're coming into game, partially like how successful we're going to be is going to be dependent on how much intensity we're bringing into any individual game. And so it's like obviously it's like, you know, we're playing League for fun. It's just a hobby. We're here to have a good time. It's not the end of the world. But like when I would say like when we're in game, try to eliminate distractions and try to be focused like fully in on being in game, you know? So like I like in between games I'll like listen to music or do whatever, but once loading screen starts, or especially once we get into game, try to like minimize all of our other distractions and stuff. And so what's our kind of mindset into Gallia? Like how do we want to play this? What are you kind of thinking? How do the kits interact?
I'm never gonna kill him. Well, that's not true because I did solo kill him, but like my first trade, I screwed it up because I got hit by his W on the way out because I didn't eat fast enough. But that was kind of my goal. Is like when I all in with melee, I need to E him backwards before he Ws, so I can just run away with face rush.
Yeah, that would make sense for sure. Was there like a lot of intention behind just walking up to auto him here, or did you just kind of feel like you wanted to?
Just to get the bone plating.
Sure. I'd say something, I mean, a little nitpicky, but if we're doing this from like this angle, you know, he might just walk over, but still that at least opens up like auto then Q, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here we auto, and then we're just going to take all the creep aggro, and then he can obviously trade back with Q. So it makes it a little low percentage, but still it's fine. It's not a huge deal.
I think maybe I was thinking of top lane where you can just run to the bush that's right next to.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, because I used to play top lane a lot, so.
But also, we're not necessarily like in a huge hurry to get his bone plating off. It's not like we're Riven or something where we need it's, and also he has to walk up to last hit unless he's constantly just going to bleed CS to last hit with Q. So like, you'll have plenty of opportunity to auto him in ways where you're not just going to be pulling the entire wave aggro.
Yeah,
but no small thing at the end of the world. I'd say a good rule of thumb when you're playing Jayce into melee matchups is we want to be prioritizing like getting to level 2 first. So we can take advantage of having 4 spells when they only have 1. And then you also just, you have a really good level 2 trade.
Yeah, this was not smart.
I see like even here, I think you should at least be, for at least like hovering this side, we can be threatening Q, or we can like walk up to auto a little bit. It's like we don't want to allow him to keep the wave in between you two.
Something I just realized is standing on that side is not as good as standing on the side closer to Volibear, because I know that their jungler is not going to be there, or if they are, it's going to be...
Exactly. So we saw Echo up here, right? So you just want to lean towards the side furthest away from their jungler, closest to your team.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about that, but there were other things going on, so...
Totally, right? That's just like your mental stack's overloaded with thinking about other stuff. As you get more Jayce reps in, that stuff becomes cleaner. That's why it's so important to prioritize getting reps on one champion, because then all the Jayce specific stuff becomes more kind of like intrinsic.
I was completely dumbfounded about what happened. Why?
Yeah, no worries. Like right here, it's like, I think it's what I was talking about, alluding to earlier. It's like we have we have more or less, we have lane control. Like you're up in creeps. We have an amazing angle here to just play for level 2 first and take a nice trade. But like we're focused on something that's just completely outside of game here, and we just completely sack this opportunity.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need to tell you that like this isn't optimal, right?
Yeah.
And here it's like now like Jayce can really take advantage of people when we are hitting those like level up timers first. But when we're
Yeah.
not, it's like you identified, we don't necessarily need to wait till we're hitting our first item to really get work done. But
Yeah.
we want to be getting levels and Q. We want to be getting to tier, getting longswords. So it's fine to play lane slower for the most part, like waiting to get to our spikes. We want to take advantage of the trade windows we have. But it's like this is a trade window where it's just like it doesn't really make any sense, right? When we actually look at it. Because
Yeah,
we're
I think later on I get a little bit less I don't know what the yeah, see I was trying to eat him backwards
yeah,
with
if
melee.
we're like quick about it, we can actually get him out of there and it'd be okay, like you said. But we just don't even
Like
really
when I
press
went
E.
into the well, I think like the important thing is like when I went into the trade, I knew that that was what I needed to do.
Yeah, right. But like we're just, I mean, we see where our mouse is. We're clicking away. We have ample time to hit him, so
Yeah.
we're just not more clean with it, and that's okay. It's just stuff that comes with time. But right, it's like even more than that. It's like this trade. What does it really accomplish? I feel like we're just kind of doing it because you're like, oh fuck, I'm playing a video game. Like I should be hitting him. You know, it's like I don't
Yeah.
think we're really getting a ton of value out of this. And into melees like this, we'd rather be playing the kind of like chip game where we're looking to
Yeah.
poke them down with Q or just even auto attacks, or even more importantly, like playing the waves so we're getting ourselves in situations where we can enable that to be easier.
Is the wave not in a
It's not a bad spot to keep you safe. It's not in a good spot to like enable you to do damage to him, right? That's why it doesn't make sense to really trade here, because it's like, well, it's like what we'd rather be doing is just making sure we're last hitting and getting all of our creeps. This isn't like, if we want to be enabling like aggressive trading onto Galio, we'd rather be like stacking waves and pushing them, getting him under tower so that he's forced to last hit and we can just land Qs on him or auto him when he walks up, you know? But now we're in this situation where he's got the wave pushing into us, actually. So when we take this trade, not only are the creeps aggroing us, but it's just like we'd rather just be hitting this stuff.
Yeah, I think I just like gave prio for some reason.
Yeah, we gave prio because we're all tapping.
Yeah.
Like ideally, if we're just last hitting better, not wasting Q on a single creep, when he's walking up to last hit stuff like this, that's when we auto Q W, right? And we can just trade him out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think unfortunately here, like a small, real nitpicky thing though, is like when we have this cannon aggro, if we don't just like walk it all the way back into tower range and we just allow it to sit right here, it then gets a really, really nice, like safe lane space for you.
Like a freeze?
Yeah, essentially, right? You don't necessarily have to hold it as a freeze, but it just means that like for this wave and the wave that's coming in, Galio is really overextended and you're completely safe. So just something to keep in mind, like pulling this cannon in here just doesn't, it's still like still happens, right? But having that cannon out enables that a little bit better.
Yeah.
But now it's just like,
I do that later.
Yeah, we just want to be trimming the wave so we can keep it here as long as we can, catch as much of it. And then when he's walking up to auto, we ideally auto him a little bit. But ultimately,
like I said later, I think I'm less distracted. So
yeah, but it is important to like recognize like how snowbally of a game League is and how much stems out from how you're playing your early lane.
Yeah.
It's like early lane is such an important part of the game, and if we're missing like 5 CS here, 3 CS there, it's like when you go to your first base that adds up. Or if we're not optimizing these trades, like it might not matter in this game, but there's certainly games where that'll bite you in the ass. I mean, just snipe him here. Something that is important with the shock, like with the gate itself, is the closer, like we want to Q and then bring our mouse back and pull it, like the gate closer to us, because that'll speed up the shock blast for longer, right? So it just makes it easier to hit in the long run. Like here, it's a very similar situation to what we saw earlier. It's like I like this like shock blast. It's fine. You know, it's like we have 2 points into Q, so it's doing some damage. We hit him with it, and that's nice 150 damage. Like that's all we have to do here. We don't need to walk up now and go hammer form onto a Galio, go into melee range into a Galio. This is what he wants, right? It's like all you want to do is just continue to chip him down. You have that option in cannon form. We don't need to use melee form aggressively here. And again, it's like, what does getting this trade actually do for us, right?
Nothing.
Yeah, it's like I think we're just focused on trading a little bit just for the sake of it. When it's like, what would enable us better to do that is if we were like getting the wave pushed in and just continue to auto him down with cannon form, land more Qs on him. Also, it's like, what's pretty sketchy here is Rammus could totally just be here right now.
Yeah.
Or not Rammus, but Echo, yeah. It's like, so ideally, I think, I mean, let's look at when we have a, like right now, before either melee creep is hitting each other, before any creeps are low, we're either looking to get a ward here or get a ward here. Because then that just enables us to hover to like to lean to either side and just be safe to anything that happens. Because Galio has really, really good gank setup. Especially when we go melee form and jump onto him.
Yeah.
And that's like we're just developing this awkward situation where we've lost all of our mana, we've lost most of our health. We're kind of just stuck in lane here. And now the wave's in a really awkward spot. We have good bot vision, but we're hovering. See how like we're not leaning towards our Volibear or any of our like our vision down here. We're leaning to the side that makes it really easy for Echo if he was here to kill us. And this here, it's like, it's kind of a lazy ward. I think you might as well just take the extra second, walk up a little bit further, and just ward right here. Because then we'll see this whole, it gives us just way more information, keeps us much safer.
Yeah.
I think we could also just be fishing to get a mana flow proc here too with Q, right? It's a pretty easy Q angle.
Yeah, I don't think I was thinking about that at the time. I don't know why.
Yeah, no worries, man. I like that we hold the wave there. It's nice. I think honestly we could have stayed in hammer form here too, just to get mana back, right? Because we're not really under a ton of threat. We're not under threat because like where the wave is so safe for us, and we do have vision right here, so we know we're fine to like be in this pocket hitting the wave. So I think small thing, but I think it's fine to be sitting hammer form, getting mana back. But ultimately, it's like the wave's in a good spot. He's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world.
I should have thinned the wave, yeah.
Yeah, a little. It would have made it easier, or we could even hold it. We could, like right now, for paying attention to where our reinforcing wave is, that would give us the understanding of like what I can actually do with this wave. So if
I could have gone into melee and then held the wave.
Yeah, it's just an option. You know, he might pressure you off of it, but you might as well at least force him. And there's a lot of times I think we've seen in this VOD already where we're using our abilities in the wave a lot. It's like, yeah, this is an awkward HP, but all you have to do is auto this one once, then use 2 W autos here. It's like, we see that a lot, I think, throughout here, where it's like, we're just using our abilities in the wave a ton. And that's not giving us opportunities to use our abilities on Galio, and then also we're constantly out of mana. I think, we have...
This is where I have a
nice fight, yeah. ultimately it's like, yeah, where you have no mana left, so it's like we have to base, and we're on a bunch of gold. It's just a really nice back. Like tier double longsword's a beautiful back to start off on.
Yeah,
Like that's a great early
that's been
game.
my goal. Yeah.
If you're getting to tier double longsword 000 with pretty decent CS, like that's a fine early game on Jayce. You're not upset about it.
Yeah.
I think right here it's kind of a missed opportunity to just not shock blast.
Yeah, that's what I did realize that. Yeah, it was a bad
Right,
idea.
because like not only are we're out of vision, so it's very unlikely they're gonna miss it, that they're gonna dodge it. Also, they're already preoccupied with their fight, so just there's no reason to not be shock blasting
Yeah.
here first.
And I yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna die. So. Yep.
I mean, I think we have a chance. We could probably be dodging this here.
Yeah, sidestep. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty obvious.
But I mean, it's also hard once we're kind of committed to it once we're flashing in, right?
Hmm.
But I don't think it's terrible. Honestly, that's really not terrible. We got a double kill for it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's like these kills are a little bit easier if we have if we shock blast first, right?
Yeah.
And then we hammer for him. He's already dead. We don't have to waste your E here.
Even better if I hit echo, then I don't have to flash.
Exactly, right? But it is what it is. We could play this fight a little bit better.
Hmm.
I do think going to it's correct. I think overall
Yeah.
that decision is fine. It sucks your MF never follows here. That's just kind of frustrating,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
I think there's a world where it's like if we're aware MF's not following and that we only have a level 3 Cho'Gath at 40% HP, that
Hmm.
we just take this kill and we say, all right, guys, see you later. I'm going to just hit my midwave. Like that,
Yeah.
that's completely fine too, right?
Yeah.
Because Galio's dead. That means we can, if we just shove this, we could either get a plate or we can just shove this, instantly reset, spend our money, come back out, and we're very happy. Then we keep flash
Yeah.
up. It's like you identified.
I guess my thought process was, what can I do to deny them the dragon?
Yeah, and I think you're also really just seeing this,
Yeah.
and we just want to do something about it. I think
Well,
it's
no, I also remember thinking that. So,
fair enough.
but
Yeah,
you
totally.
also have a point with yeah, you're not wrong with just seeing the low HP target and being like must kill.
Yeah, I got buttons to press. I want to do it. It's going to be a good time. And it's like, again, this is completely different if MF comes up.
Hmm.
So it's like if she's here, then going forward here is actually really good because you probably
Yeah.
would kill everybody else.
Yeah, no, my team flames her after this.
But do keep in mind, like, you all like playing super, like making the really chaotic play here of going forward on this like early game skirmish isn't necessarily super in line with what Jayce wants to be getting done, right? We want to maximize our economy. We want to maximize our XP, especially throughout the early game. So when we hit the mid late game, we're very accelerated. We're very strong getting into those points.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind, like, you definitely have the option of like, I can just take this kill and leave,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you had the strong understanding that it was a man disadvantage fight.
Yeah. I think they get the drag anyway, so in
Yeah, it's
hindsight.
not the end of the world.
Oh, never mind. Well, yeah. No, yeah. 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 I don't even remember where I solo kill him, but eventually I turned my brain on and actually do something.
And what are you kind of thinking? Like, what are you feeling at this time?
Like the wave's in a good spot. Um, uh, lack of vision.
And what do you want to be doing at this point in the game to like make the game easier, or like what's your goal to like be winning the game from this point?
Um, I guess I thought about it earlier was denying him the ability to roam, which I'm not doing. because of the wave state.
Yeah, I mean, like if we want to deny roaming, the best thing to do is be slow pushing waves. Really, we want to because we want to stack a wave up so that if he roams, he's missing multiple waves.
Yeah.
And that forces him in. Also, if you're stacking a wave up, it's easier to get chip damage onto him, make it harder for him to roam. More specifically, what I was trying to look at is ideally like we just want to be kind of hanging around, getting our gold, getting to our spikes, but also keeping our attention on Volibear. Jayce is a very, very strong skirmisher. He's very strong in 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. So you just want to be matching your Volibear, playing off of him, and enabling like those fights to go well.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, if we can deny roam opportunities for Galio, that'd be huge as well. Because that's what he wants to get done, right?
I mean, he has the whole ability center around himself.
Yeah, that's most of his power. It's a pretty good trade here.
Yeah.
It was nice that we dodged that.
Yeah, I kind of foreshadowed that.
Something you can do in like this situation, you kind of do it, but it's a little slow. It's like when we are in cannon form, he used his main engage here, and we have the gate down. We just want to like run in it to keep the movement speed, and then just use that to kite him with your W. Use the movement speed to enable getting like auto W off, and just just that allows you to kite really cleanly. You see, we kind of do it here, right? You know, we just use that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, here's where I probably could have gone for a word.
Yeah, and we get there. But again, it's just this is just a lazy word, right?
Yeah.
What's stopping you from just going right here? And it gives you so much more vision.
Yeah. Oh, I'm writing these things down as you're saying them. So.
Super. Love that, man.
Adding a small list to focus on, yeah. Because I don't think some of this stuff is hard to implement.
No, it's like most of the stuff in League nothing's that complicated where it's like really difficult to understand. I think the hard parts are one, like recognizing it is something that's very difficult to do in game because you're so focused on other things and you're so like emotional in game where you need to take a step back kind of objectively and be like, okay, what could I have actually done here, and get curious about it and be like, how could I have gotten more damage off, or like why did I miss all this CS, or just. But that requires you to look at it in post game. Like it's very difficult to do that in game. And then also, I think with League, it's a lot of the stuff is not very hard to understand conceptually, but to really get the feeling of it and be able to use that in game, like the actual like intuition, that's a very different thing. And that just requires one, the understanding of it, but two, also the experience of it. I think here it's like what we're like the shock blast is a little low percentage, but it's fine ultimately. I think like going forward here, it doesn't really make sense. Because one, we know Echo's around here somewhere. We just saw him.
Yeah.
So if we go forward and Echo's just like right here, and then he's just paying attention, you get taunted, and he's here, you're likely dead. But also, it's like from Galio's point of view, watch your movement here, and like how obvious it is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or you turn hammer for him and you sprint at him. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like there's no real sophistication behind it. So you're making it so easy for him to get off everything he wants. And if we're dumping our whole like melee form damage into an aftershock Galio, we're not gonna do any damage. And we see that. This is the second time we've seen this in this game where we take this melee form trade, really obvious to him. He gets a ton of damage off, and you don't really deal any.
Yeah.
Whereas if we prioritize just like, it sucks we missed the shock blast here, but if we just prioritize hitting more of these, it's like imagine if you just did that damage to him instead.
Yeah, 417.
Yeah, and then he can't do anything to you from this range, right? Maybe he can Q you, maybe.
Yeah.
And what's going to enable you to be able to do this stuff easier is like if we're hitting the wave more, getting the wave into a position where it's stacking towards him or under his tower. So he's forced to engage with the wave unless he misses the CS. That will make it even easier for you to hit your shock blasts. Also, something to think about. the highest percentage way to land shock blasts is actually to do them at max range, because the at the end of the shock blast range, it has this huge radius, like the detonation radius.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just trying to hit them with the small, like the small like energy ball that you shoot out. Like I'm just trying to, like instead of trying to hit them with this, like something that size, it's instead like that size, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can always guarantee that if we were just doing that from like max range here, you get the max range shock blast and you'll have the huge radius. It'll make it much easier to hit if you use the AoE part of it.
Yeah.
React pretty quickly to it, so it's not bad. But you see, well, we see him on the whole word. Actually, it's fine. Yeah, that's good. It's nice that the word pays off and you react to it nice and quick. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, but also your point of putting it. If I put the word where you said, then the thought process of like, oh, I'm basically an ADC. I'm afraid of pushing the wave towards him because then their jungler comes and I'm overextended. If the ward is up there, then I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, 'cause you just see him sooner, right? That just gives you the option to see him sooner. It gives you the ability to see him on this path, and also gives you the ability to see him on this path.
Yeah,
So it's just giving you more option. It's not that this, like, I would rather you have this word than have no words. But it's like, it's just lazy compared to what this word over the ledge offers you, you know?
I'm gonna force myself to think about that. That's the only way to.
Like, this is the stuff I'd wish we would be doing more than any hammer form, like trading. It's like we're just finding trades like this, and like he has no real recourse to it.
Yeah.
And I think you were doing it before, but it is something like we always want to be queuing before we E. You don't want to E then Q. It's always Q then E.
Yeah. Yep.
And so what are you kind of thinking about in this position?
I don't know. I kind of took a second and thought, well, there's two tops, so.
Or even smaller, more specific to you. You got two major red flags here.
I'm not walking with the wave.
No, so more specifically to me, it's just like we have very little HP and we have almost no mana.
Yeah.
And Jayce is not a champion who wants to have no mana in lane.
Yeah.
And obviously into somebody as high threat as Galio Echo, it's like being low HP could just get us in trouble very quickly, especially without flash. Yeah. So specifically what I'm getting at is like we want to be trying to think about how do I reset here without missing anything? Or how do I minimize my loss on a reset? Do you have any ideas on how we could do that? Especially say if we identify like around here.
I mean, I could freeze the wave.
Can you
instead
freeze
of
the
just
wave
getting rid of? If I didn't get rid of those 3 casters, I think maybe.
So to freeze the wave, we need at least to freeze the wave like right here. We'll need like 4, like here, like 3, yeah, right?
That's 4, right?
Yeah, but you need an advantage. You need an advantage of 4. You have 3, 2. They have 3, 1.
Yeah.
And also, it's like when we freeze the lane, we want to do that so we can maximize what we're doing in lane. Right now, we're trying to get out of lane, right? So,
so the best idea would just be shove it.
Yep, and specifically,
the backup, the backup wave is, at a spot.
Yeah, and also specifically what we're thinking here is that this incoming wave is a cannon wave. Right?
You can reset.
Yeah, so if we identify that right here, the wave coming out of base is a cannon wave. It's like right now, even if you're not sure, you're like, I haven't been paying attention to every 3 waves. I don't know what the next one is. just go look real quick, see cannons here, then you know, okay, I need to shove this as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So then if I reset and he tries to shove the cannon wave to punish me, I'm not losing that much.
Yeah.
And that'd just be the easiest way in this situation to get you a minimized reset.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think staying here is pretty bad.
Yeah, because like we have no real options. Not only are we on a pretty hefty amount of gold here, but if anything happens anywhere, we can't do anything, right? We have enough mana to combo once probably, but if we hammer form into anybody, we're gonna die. So we're just not giving ourselves real options. Luckily, it's like we've landed enough poke on the Galio where he can't really do a lot either.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not awful, but it's like this is just sketchy and low percentage in terms of you being able to get things done.
I mean, but also, like, if I was to get high elo, like, this would not fly, so.
Exactly, yeah, for sure. Because like the Echo would come and punish you, right? He's level 6 Echo, he'd just come tower dive you. But now at this point, like, we've made our bed, we might as well stick with it until we get Eclipse here.
Yes.
But it's the same thing, right? Ultimately, we're still gonna try to play it the same way, right? So we know that this is the cannon wave. So this next coming wave is 1. Meaning that we kill him here, but just all of our Q poke landing is really nice. That's the result of this.
Yeah.
So now we just want to shove as quick as possible, get the fuck out of here. Okay, this is pretty sad to see.
Oversay?
Yes, 100%. So plates are always a luxury, right? Plates are always a luxury. But also more than that, it's like, why do you need more money? You have 2,000 gold. So we don't need the plates. And also, more importantly, what we're losing here is our tempo. Right? If we shove this and instantly base, then are walking back out, we're going to be back out on the map before we lose anything. Because this wave's going to be bouncing back out. And we're also under a ton of, like, if anybody on the other team is paying any attention, they should all be sprinting to mid right now.
Yeah. And also, like, if you look at the map, it's like, oh, drag is up in 30 seconds.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
I need to back at least, like, 25.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know why.
I'm like, fuck, dude, that could have even... Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's like you see that, right? In hindsight, it's like, wow, that's a massive blunder. You get really lucky that you don't die here. You get really, like you were just saying in higher elo, this won't fly. Like, yeah, you get really lucky that you don't die on this. We get rewarded for landing a bunch of nice poke onto the Galio, and we find the nice kill.
Yeah,
but it's like our goal should just have been to reset for so long that by the time we get this kill, it's like that's 100% our priority is just reset, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Oh, was that a cannon wave? That might have been why I stayed. Even then,
this one coming in, yeah, but it's like it doesn't.
Your point is still
like we have 2,100 gold at 11 minutes, right? We have 500 HP, 250 mana. It's like we need to reset. And if we had reset correctly, if we didn't play for the plate here, we would be back in lane by the time this wave's crashing.
Yeah.
So we're not losing anything anyways.
Yep. And I wouldn't have to TP.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
kind of an awkward EQ here.
Yeah.
I would recommend, unless you're really, really tied to it, I really think quick cast with indicators is just clunky.
Yeah.
I think if you can get used to not using it, you get way smoother. So just something to think about. It's personal preference ultimately, but
you're not wrong. I went back to it. I went back to it after I quit playing Gangplank.
There you go. And like what I do personally is I have normal casts have to shift buttons. So like if I do shift Q, I'll see the range indicator. If I do shift E, I'll see the range indicator. Also again, like, does this trade remind you of anything?
Because I already what I did before.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not getting anything from doing it. And if anything, he has a bunch of minions, so.
And it's just getting worse because he has armor. you're doing even less damage. It's just not what we want to be doing, is trading with the Galio at this point.
Yeah.
It doesn't accomplish anything for us. And like thinking about it from this perspective, like we have 3 kills, we have pretty alright CS. We're already ahead of the Galio. Just these really low percentage trades are doing nothing but giving him the opportunity to get back in the game.
Yeah.
Right. All we want to be doing is trying to maximize like Q poke and ranged poke. And then if he decides to come in, that's when we use Hammer Form to punish him. But if we're using Hammer Form to initiate, it's always going to be looking like this. This is Galio specific, but this always is going to be happening like this.
Yeah.
So we want to, like, what we should be identifying as the consistent factor here is that we want to be playing the wave first, getting the wave in a position that's enabling us to poke with our cannon form rather.
Yeah.
And that will make that a lot easier. The value of having the wave, like, it's definitely less so at 12 minutes, because at this point in the game, it's like we'd rather be pushing waves so that he has to stay in lane to catch waves. Like, we'd rather be pushing waves under tower, so he's forced to either catch the wave or miss it. And then that also allows us to have prio in lane so we can move first anything that's happening. Right? So, like, imagine if we're just shoving first, keeping him under tower, then moving bot and just shock blasting them coming back up. It's like, then we're...
So, is an okay way to think about it, okay, well, if I want to shove the wave because it's a cannon wave next, or I have a bunch of gold, then I'll just shove it really quickly. But in any other circumstance, having the wave kind of at that a little bit forward from the banner, but like closer to where the push starts, but yeah, like keeping the wave there in all the other, I don't know, because then you want to push it too to poke them. So
yeah, so I think ideally what we want to be doing is slow pushing on neutral waves. So when the waves are meeting in the middle, right? When they're meeting completely in the middle, we want to be slow pushing, meaning we're not using abilities and we're just like last hitting, so we can stack a wave. So 2 waves will meet. That will give us the best, that's the best case scenario, because then if we crash that wave, he's stuck under tower for the longest, trying to hit as many of the creeps as possible. That gives us either the most amount of time to move, or that gives us the most amount of time to poke him under tower. The value of having the wave like here for us is safety. And also it exposes him to ganks. But it doesn't necessarily enable Jayce in this matchup to get a lot of aggressive trading done. It can in cannon form, but this is a matchup where going melee or hammer form is just really, you have to be really intentional when you do it. And what we keep seeing is there's no intention. We're just going hammer form to Q him. And then we're in the situation where it's like, we did that like a wave and a half ago. We're still at half HP. He's at 80%. Now, if anything happens, he's in a much better position to respond to it. Doesn't matter that you solo killed him, because all Galio has to do is land his ult and taunt people. Right? But if you go to a fight and it doesn't matter how much gold you have or that you're on a nice spike, if you have 50% HP, it's just going to be really hard. So like you identified a while ago, it's like the goal here is to disable his ability to roam effectively, enable our ability to...
objective is up.
Exactly, right? So it's like
this is where I want to have the slow push wave and decide, okay, now I'm going to push the wave. Exactly. Because that forces him to that situation. He's either going to move and lose 2 full waves of golden XP, which is... Even then, I'll be the first person to respond. So.
Exactly. That gives you control of everything. Like, that's the pivotal point of mid lane, right? That's why, like, especially in mid game, having prio and having the pressure translates into you being able to affect the rest of the map.
Yeah.
But we see here, because we took that bad trade, we're kind of scared of him. Now he's moving down to this way before us, and he can ult to be there even quicker.
And I didn't even ping, but I think I didn't ping because
Yeah, it seems like you're not
they
even
were
really
already in the thick of it.
aware that it's happening. I'll be honest. Because
Yeah,
like this is all happening, and we're going to ward here,
yeah,
right? Who is coming? Who's over here?
exactly.
Right? What the fuck is gonna? What's this
Yeah,
ward doing for us? So yeah, I
yeah.
mean, you see this now, right? Where it's like we
There's
just
no point.
yeah, we let him do exactly what he wanted to do. Yeah, we got a solo kill. Yeah, we have OKCS, but
Yeah,
what did it matter when they just wiped our whole team? Sans
yeah,
Fiora, it's like that 3 people dying down here and them getting another dragon. This alone makes this
mhm,
game really difficult for us. And it means that we've
yeah,
done nothing. It's like it's one of these things where it's like you look at it sometimes like, wow, like my team just trolled, holy shit. But like when we are actually really looking at it, we did nothing to make this hard for Galio.
yeah,
And that fight might be completely different if Galio, even if you don't go, if Galio just can't go, right?
yeah,
So
yep, yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and yeah, I wouldn't have to flash if I wasn't greedy with the teleport.
yeah, or also it's like we can even micro if we just gate cannon form up,
Oh
or even
yeah.
if we just gate cannon form sooner. I think we're just kind of
Hmm.
slow in both of those. And like this
Yep.
gate's so far away from you.
Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah, by the time you flash over it, you didn't really flash over the gate. So yeah, you don't have to flash there for just playing micro better.
Yeah.
You do know that in cannon, or I mean in hammer form, you get bonus armor and MR.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just don't always think about it.
Oh no, totally. Just as long as you know it's important. And here again, right? Like we just
Yeah.
need a. The goal should be like how I do it when I play Jayce is I'm gonna Q them. I'm gonna put my mouse on them Q, and then I'm pulling my mouse back to press E.
Yeah.
It's like we keep
It's a lot
seeing
easier to. I mean, it's a lot harder for them
to
to
react to
react
it
and yeah,
exactly, and we
and
just
easier
keep
for you to hit it.
exactly. We just see these really far away gates constantly.
Yeah, I'm just doing the easiest thing instead of
Hmm.
doing. Well, I mean, it's not
Yeah,
even the easiest thing. It's just
yeah. It's just sloppy
brain
micro.
dead.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that stuff. It's like if we played only 10 games of Jayce, that's the stuff that's going to improve as we play more games of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like now, like what are we kind of thinking? Like, what's our goal in game right now?
I mean, then there's not really. I mean, there's Rift Herald that just came up. Um, I guess what I should be doing, which is what you reiterated several times, is slow pushing the wave, which like stacking it and uh looking to poke him so that obviously I don't
Yeah,
know what the hell
I
happened there,
think
but
yeah, that's not something I would focus on. That's much more like early lane and early like mid game. At this point, it's not gonna be as effective because he can just Q auto and one shot the casters. It's hard to really
hmm
slow push effectively into him at this point. That's something that I would focus more on for your early game plan. Um,
okay,
at this point, I'm thinking like the main thing I see is like we just have an awkward amount of HP again. That means it's awkward
hmm
for us to do anything.
yeah,
Um, and also it's like you identified, yeah, like we have Rift Herald up. We know we don't want to be playing towards bot because they've just lost multiple fights. If we can
hmm
play towards these guys and try to get something done over here, that's ideal.
yeah,
If we can deny Galio the opportunity to make more rooms or to like get to fights early, also ideal.
yeah,
Um, and ultimately too, just we want to be getting gold and XP to safely be accelerating towards the like mid late game.
oh, yep, yeah,
I think specifically here, if we just push a little bit faster and leave, like that's just better.
yeah,
He just kind of walks at us, and
yeah,
I think if we're just walking back sooner, I think you were
yep,
kind of, or if you commit to your idea to just walk to your team, one of the two. You kind of decide to do both, right?
yeah,
And that results in you getting killed here. So if we just walk up here, there's no way Echo can get to you
hmm
in time, and your team can come down, have man advantage.
yep, hmm
Or if we just walk straight back to tower, we're safe.
yeah, yep. Yeah.
So is there any big thing here that you see that would tell you to switch up your lane assignment?
Um,
Also, again, right?
like,
Just get the better word.
yeah.
But the main thing I'm saying here is we just saw our bot lane take their bot outer, right? And so what that means pretty much all the time is now we want to put your bot lane mid and you will swing down bot. Or conversely, like say, I honestly don't remember who their top laner is.
It's no, it's not our best set. That was the game before.
Yeah, Camille.
Camille,
So like
yeah.
say like you feel like you would do better into Camille than Fiora does. Find a swing Fiora down bot, have you go top, right?
Yeah.
So now, like the main thing I'm trying to get to here is once the bot tower goes down, that's the main indicator to start really thinking about lane assignments. What lane should you be in to be most effective? What lane, like what could you do with them to increase your chances the best here, right? And obviously we want to put the bot lane mid for two reasons. One, mid being the shortest lane is safer for MF, exactly. And also it allows Cho'Gath easier access to either side of the map, just enabling your support to get to more fights.
Yeah.
And you have TP, so that means you want to be inside lanes one way or another.
Yeah. No, yeah, these are all.
So what I would do in this situation specifically is like just shove this wave out, see MF's coming here, then we just walk bot or something. Or even with how deeply bot is pushed here, that gives you time to just go like overload top, make a play. Or it's still, I think, even okay to just overload mid, make a play for this tier 1.
Yeah,
but that's specifically
tier 1 mid is a lot.
Exactly. It's the most valuable tower to be getting here.
Yeah.
But that's specifically just because the spot wave is so pushed up that you already have a ton of pressure. And if we were to go sit over here and try to like pressure this lane, we're just asking to be killed.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I could have just even if I didn't,
right? Like if we
in my bot laner did not come mid, if I came top there, they probably wouldn't have died.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's also just if we just let MF come up here, if you just start pinging and you ping on your way down here, and then we're just catching the wave out here, it's very unlikely they're making the play. That's kind of crazy that it happens anyways, because the vision. Yeah, no, it's just because, yeah, we would have been down here way before answering this wave, like out here. And then MF and Cho'Gath are mid. And if they still are like overloading down here, they're at least taking this mid tier 1 back.
Can you come here for a minute?
Like here we just see them all like pushing through bot, right? We know they had made this play down here. So we should just be a little bit wary of going forward.
Yep.
Also, it's like we see, like we had an okay early game. You know, we definitely, there's stuff we could have done better. But we see how it's just like these kind of almost seemingly smaller mid-game decisions are coming to just bite us in the ass, right? Where it's like, if we had just like switched the lane assignments correctly, this bot tower is still up, and then they're just answering mid lanes cleaner. Or if we're not taking weird trades just to trade, that's disabling Galio from ulting our team bot lane. And that alone completely changes everything else that's happened since, right? It's like that's how all this stuff will just continuously snowball out of your game. That's why it's just like so important to emphasize on getting clean and consistent in our early game. And I think the main thing I think I would like you to be thinking about is go back, like if you're willing to like continue to record your games, just like go back and watch your first 4 waves.
Yeah.
Look at like, okay, where am I setting these waves up? Like how am I like setting them up to do certain things? Are they consistently in front of my tower? Are they consistently in front of their tower? And what
Yeah.
sort of trades is that enabling? How does that make me like kind of feel in game? And then two, like when we're taking any trades we take, like look at like your first 10 minutes, all the trades you take, what do you actually like, what's the value you're getting out of these trades? What are you actually getting out of them? What are they enabling you to do or disabling your opponent to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like, I think the third main thing I want you to look at is when am I resetting? You know, don't
Yeah.
even focus so much on like when you should be, as much as just literally when are you resetting? How much gold do I
Mm-hmm.
have? Why am I resetting? What am I getting out of it? How much am I missing when I'm resetting? Just start noticing this stuff, and you'll see some
Mm-hmm.
patterns, I think, that will enable you to just
Yeah.
be better informed in game with your decisions and like have a higher level understanding of like what your decisions, how they're cascading and impacting the rest of the map.
Yeah. I um I I think that that alone is probably enough to start focusing on, and I don't think there's a whole lot of value going through the rest of the VOD.
No, I agree with you completely. It just would be noise unless there's like, yeah, it would just be noise ultimately because the game would be look
Yeah.
so different if we're doing things differently, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
And I
mean, we
think
probably could have looked at the first 4 waves and been like, okay, well,
yes,
that's
yeah,
garbage. So
exactly. Like often you really can, but that
yeah.
feels really bad to be here for 5 minutes and be like, well, that sucked. Anyway, see you later.
No,
So,
no, no, no. No. It's just
you know, it's like, but
no.
and there's
Yeah.
plenty of other. It's like I would say like go through to your first 2 deaths, and that will give you most of what you need to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like at this point, like if because like higher level players just have 0 deaths here, and they have an extra like 30 CS, right? That's completely
Mm-hmm.
different alone. Like their power from that alone is completely different,
Yeah.
and you know so. And I also think like there's a lot of Jayce specific stuff that you just need to work on, but that's stuff that
Mm-hmm.
is really going to be coming with reps and coming with time. It's like you
No. Yeah.
just I would recommend probably getting like if you're willing to do it, just if you spend like 3 minutes in practice tool before every session you play, just
Mm-hmm.
like going through your Jayce combos, getting really clean with like orb walking on your W attack speed, getting really
Yeah.
clean with like you can with your empowered melee auto, you can animation cancel that with your Q. Like you have some options with like just get comfortable with Jayce. You know, get
Yeah.
in a space where you're really safe to just practice and fuck things around, just mess around and stuff. And also, like
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier, like try to get a feel for that max range EQ shock blast, because like using that AOE at the edge of it instead of like trying to land the small circle, that would make things way more consistent. It's a something you see higher level Jaces do a lot to enable them to
Yeah.
consistently land their shock blasts.
Yeah.
All right, big dog. Any other questions?
Um. Not really. I mean, I think I think translating some of my experience from uh, uh I don't I don't think my prior experience in other genres helps me a lot in this genre.
Yeah, and MOBAs are so specific, and League's such a hard, specific
Yeah.
game where it's like there's so many crazy variables. There's so much, like you can
Yeah.
have 2 games with the exact same players playing the exact same champions, but like the relative strength will be different because how the game goes is different. You know, there's so much going on,
Yeah.
and that again is why it's so important to focus on just one champion and one role, or even
Hmm.
just 2 champions in one role, because
So
you.
I guess that is a question. So sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the value of mid is your opponent is typically has less HP.
What do you mean by that?
That value might, I mean, that idea might be wrong.
But what do you mean by like the value of mid? Is that
Like, like just like for Jason specific.
Like, why would you play Jayce
like
mid over top?
yeah, like if I played him, if I like for example, like I'm not gonna play Zed top unless I'm into like Smolder.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, yeah, that's definitely part of it, where you have kill threat into certain matchups where you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah,
And
and as long as you have it, I mean, it's gonna be harder for them to want to trade into you anyway.
yes, I would say the main thing with mid is kind of like what you touched on. Is like the matchups are often easier for a champion like Jayce, where you don't
Hmm.
have to be going against a Riven or a Camille or a Renekton who can just out stat check you and just like tear your face apart. Um,
Yeah.
but conversely, it's like then you also have to deal with support roams, more jungle access. Those champions also, a lot of mid lane matchups have higher range, so it's not as easy to get your Qs off. So you have to get more creative
Yeah.
with that stuff. So I think that the fundamental value of mid opposed to top matchups is a big part of it, but also it's just your access. It's what, like, you have so much more access to fights on either side, right?
Which also puts more of the emphasis on playing for my waves even more
Yes, I mean in top,
because,
like you emphasize waves because bad wave states in certain matchups top will just ruin your game.
yeah.
Mid, it will bad wave states or incorrect wave states can have massive ramifications on the rest of the
Hmm.
map, you know. So
Yeah.
it's slightly different in that way. But Jayce is a champion who, once he's gotten his first item, once he has a couple levels in Q, even he really likes getting to these skirmishes. He really like enjoys kind of chaotic skirmishes because you like being able to land your shock blast from like fog. You really like just you have a lot of damage in your
Yeah.
kit, so if you can fight with people, you can get a lot done.
Yeah.
So, and then also it's like you definitely do, and a lot of matchups, once you have some items and some levels, you just always out prio them on mid because you do so much more damage.
Yeah.
Right. But that requires us to be using our kit properly.
Hmm.
But you can totally, my point is that you can totally have prio in most mid matchups in the mid game, which will enable you to affect the rest of the map really cleanly.
Yeah.
I
I guess
think,
that answers my
yeah,
question.
I think he is better mid right now. I think he just gets
Yeah.
exposed too much by top champions currently. There's
Yeah.
definitely some counter, like if you, I would queue mid
It's like
top, and if you
a
get
Malphite
top, don't
just
stress
ult
it.
on me
Exactly,
and,
right?
like I'm playing lane fine. Well, it's obvious evidence that it's not fine, but everything's going okay. I'm at 90% HP, and then he just ults on me, and then it's like, okay, bye.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Or it's the same with like Renekton, or like Camille jumps on you and her Q2 true damage is half your HP, and you're like, okay, I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say Q mid top. If you get top, don't stress it. Just play Jayce anyways. You know,
Okay.
the most important thing is just getting these reps in, getting as many Jayce games in as you can stomach.
Yeah. Would there be more benefit into just playing these in norms instead of the stress of?
That's up to you ultimately. I think if there's an extra level of like, oh, I'm in a ranked game, then yeah, there's nothing wrong with going into normal games and playing there.
I mean, like I mean, I can still practice the same.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like the competition is definitely higher in ranked, so that will hone you a little bit better. But there's absolutely nothing wrong, like, because ultimately what we're playing for is not the LP, it's the learning. We're
Hmm.
trying to improve, become a better Jayce player and a better league player. That's going to translate into more winning in the long term. So
Yeah.
if you feel like you have kind of like a mental block with LP or a mental block with like being in a ranked game, then yeah, go ahead and just keep playing normal games until you feel like you're dominating normal games and you're really comfortable there. And then you can move
Yeah.
over. There's absolutely no rush with it.
Okay. Yeah. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Hit me up with that if you have any questions. Hit me up whenever. If you want to get another session down eventually, feel free to let me know. I'm totally open, my friend.
Yep. No, I'll work on some stuff first before I mean, I think there's plenty of things to think about first.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, there's no point in coming back in like, a day and being like, hey, can we
Yeah,
can we look
exactly.
through and it's like the same thing all over again?
I'd say ideally, just as a frame of reference, about 3 weeks would be perfect. If you want to
Yeah.
get some games in 3 weeks and we can come back and look
Hmm.
again, I think that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, have a good rest of your day, man.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for letting me yell at you. I always appreciate that.
You didn't yell.
Just yapping
I mean, if
away.
you did, I mean, it's all important.
All right, big dog. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.